good to go.
So remember this, because we're going to look at it next to Marxism in a minute. Order and cooperation lead to progress and prosperity. 8, free exchange of ideas and viewpoints should be promoted. We want freedom. You can totally disagree with me, and I should let you state your opinion. And then you should let me state my opinion and let people decide what they want. That's government of the people, and that's what we need. Then number 9, minimum number of laws. The laws that you do have should be strictly impartially enforced. Trial by jury of peers. You know, I found out recently that people can form, by original laws of America, we could form a jury and actually take legal action if we were upset about something, and that can carry a force of law. I don't know how to do it myself. I just learned about this.
Well, they circumvent jury trials in a lot of things too. Now,
They try to, yes.
There's
And they do.
the family court is the most corrupt system in the entire world,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they circumvent jury trials. They circumvent the Constitution in many ways. I'm actually fighting family court right now, constitutionally, because they infringe on rights.
And common sense.
Yeah, and common sense.
Yeah. No, you're right. So, but the original American idea is trial by jury and then have very few laws, but then everybody has to obey them equally. With no special rights to, somebody's got lots of money or political power or something like that, and they literally get away with murder.
Literally, yes.
And that's been, and what about how many laws we have? We have so many laws. This is what they do in the, I'll come back to it in a minute.
The rabbit trails.
Then freedom of the individual citizens to keep and bear arms. In other words, they should have the political power of weapons. Again, it goes back to government by the people. And they're, so our founders, they even have a whole amendment to the Constitution about this. Okay, so I'm going fast because we'll come back over this same territory in a minute. So what's our definition now of Marxism? An atheistic worldview that relies on human conflict to accomplish socio-economic progress. That's your definition. And you need to really memorize these definitions, and you'll understand then different things that are going on are coming from one of these two sources. So believe it or not, this is what they think. They think that conflict is the way to have progress. And they don't believe in God at all. Marxism doesn't allow for God. So here's some characteristics. So what's ultimate reality? There's no God, so the physical universe is all there is. It's atheism. And according to them, religious faith is a form of insanity. So if you say you've been talking to God or God's been talking to you, that gets you a one-way ticket to, the gulag. They want to say that you are psychologically unfit and you shouldn't be teaching this to children, that kind of thing. That's what Marxism says. Secondly, morality. Whatever advances the revolution or equity according to the party. So morality is dictated according to the party. So lying, cheating, deception, these are all okay if these further the cause. Okay? 3, a healthy society is equity between all citizens. And Marxism believes in, especially the original Marxism, in economic determinism, that economics is what is really guiding history. It's guiding what happens to every person, and it's on a certain track, according to them, that will eventually lead to equity between all citizens. And they believe in dialectic. That means that there's a thesis and an antithesis, and they clash, and then it comes up with a synthesis, which will be a new thesis, and then a new antithesis, and that will clash, and that's how history makes progress. This is what they believe. And of course, now we know ourselves this has never happened. They've never had equity between all the citizens, because there's always this tiny little group at the top. They're like multi-gazillionaires, and everyone else is dirt poor. That's what they actually produce. Their idea is equity between all citizens. Then 4, individual freedom is highly restricted to whatever the party deems good for society. And they will take away from some people and give to other people, wealth transfer, despite individual freedom. Also, under this, people, what are human beings? They're just advanced animals. And there's no life after physical death. So you see how vastly different this is. And what about individual expression or art? Well, it has to support the revolution, these ideas that we've just been talking about. And they produce the most dark, demonic products. So if you're into, like, if you listen at all to the music that a lot of the young people have now, some of it is like, it's like hell, to tell you the truth. It's just groaning and no form to it, no beauty, no harmony at all, just pounding kind of sounds and things like this. That's the music, and the art the same way. You've got a list of references in your book there, and one of them is a book by Paul Kenger called The Devil and Karl Marx. And so if you want to get some great examples of this, get that book, and it's got poetry by Karl Marx. And it is the most depraved, horrible rantings that he calls poetry. And why this guy was ever revered is totally beyond me. It's got to be like just a pure satanic influence that he ever gained any traction at all. Because he never accomplished anything, and his so-called art is just repulsive. I'll come back to it. And government of, by, and for the Revolutionary Party. The individuals have no discretion. It's what the party dictates. So socialism is government control of the economy and much else. And all other institutions are to be subservient or eliminated. Okay? Gradually clawing away, like the family. It shouldn't be functioning independent. Just the individual should relate directly to the government. There should be nothing in between. Churches, educational institutions, all run by the government. And all seeking to carry out their agenda. It's Sharon, right?
Yes.
Welcome.
Sorry I'm late.
Well, we're glad that you're here. You should have a book. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
We're still on part 1. We went through characteristics of Americanism and a definition, and now we're doing the same thing for Marxism.
Okay.
So we're on the 6th characteristic of Marxism. I'm going to look at them side by side in just a minute. Then
Basically,
number 7, and this is very key, and you see it all around us right now. Progress and prosperity result from conflict between oppressed and oppressors. So there should be constant revolution, constant chaos and conflict. These are good. These are keys to progress. That's really how they think.
Progress and prosperity.
Yeah, for whom? They believe that at the end of the day, we'll all be great. There'll be no more government, and this is what Karl Marx actually said. You know, the government will dissolve. You won't need it anymore. Everybody will be the same and be happy. Of course, it doesn't work at all, but that's what they believe. Then no free exchange of ideas and viewpoints. No. Opposition must be demonized, crushed, and eliminated. And government thought control or totalitarianism is the order of the day according to pure Marxism. Now Sharon wasn't here when I did my, right in the beginning here, I did explain you're never going to probably meet a pure Marxist or someone that's purely behind Americanism. We tend to be a blend of each one because we've been bombarded by so much information from both standpoints, so we're all on this spectrum somewhere, okay? But you can see the more dedicated Marxist-type people, they want to demonize, crush, and eliminate other points of view. Whereas Americanism says, no, go ahead, let it hang out there and we'll deal with it, you know. We're not necessarily going to agree with you, but we're not going to stop you from expressing yourself. Okay. 9, they believe in a profuse number of totalitarian laws that are selectively enforced. And they believe in secret, rigged trials.
Like for court, you mean?
Courts. The courts are rigged. They know where they're going before they even get started. They predetermine the outcome, and they're going to, and no trial by jury or this kind of, no people involved. It's what the party has already decided should happen. And they want so many laws that it's absolutely guaranteed that Jewel has broken some of those laws. She doesn't even know about them. Nobody can even read all the laws. They've done this in communist countries, now they've done it in our country. Everybody's breaking the law all the time. Which will be okay as long as you keep your head down. Don't do anything that's disapproved of. If you do, then they will rake through all the laws and find out where Jewel has broken a law and come after you. That's selectively enforced. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're just in the early stages here talking about Marxism and Americanism. Okay, and then finally this. Only the state can keep and bear arms. And I'll just point out very quickly, that means, in America right now, it means the federal government. You hear all these calls to defund the police. Okay? Did anybody notice that?
Yeah.
So when they say that, what police are they talking about?
Our local police.
Local?
They want federal police.
Hmm?
Don't they want federal police that
Right.
they control and they
In
don't know us?
other words, you'll never hear them talk about defunding the FBI.
Which should be disbanded.
Right. It's just the opposite, you see. They want everything to be run by the federal government. And the idea of these sheriffs out there doing their thing, or the local police, oh no. We got to get rid of that. We're going to run it. And we will have all the arms under our control. That's the Marxist vision. Okay, so let's look at them side by side. What do we say? Ultimate reality? For an Americanism, it's God. Everything comes from Him, and everything is actually ruled by Him. And but there's a conflict between Him and Satan, the powers of darkness. That's ultimate reality. For the Marxism, it's the universe. The physical universe is like a box. There's nothing outside. Everything in there is all that exists. Okay? For morality, in Americanism, it's biblical standards. That's where our standards came from. And for Marxism, it's just whatever advances equity according to the party. All right? Then, in Americanism, a healthy society is a society where you have multiple institutions, like faith institutions, families, private enterprise, government. Each one has its role, and individuals are plugging into them as they feel free to do so. And the government is not dominating all these others. Okay, multiple independent institutions, all, by the way, answerable to God. At the end of the day, we all give an account to Him for how we conducted whatever it is we're doing. For Marxism, a healthy society is just equity and imposed by the government. And all these other institutions are either eliminated or they are totally controlled by the government. And now freedom and Americanism means what it says, personal choice. But in Marxism, your individual choice is not important at all. It's what the party says. That's what you need to adhere to. And we'll look at one more here. Under expression, art, music, these kind of things, for Americanism, it's reflecting divine realities, reflecting God's beauty, His order, His goodness. All that should be expressed through music and art, and it's human to do this. For Marxists, its expression should be whatever supports the revolution. So if you're writing a song, writing a poem, writing anything, it should express Marxism and the revolution against God, basically. So looking at those 5, any questions? Everybody understand what we're talking about? Okay, we'll keep going. Then government, according to Americanism, is the people. It's ultimately, the ultimate authority is the people. I can't emphasize that enough. Remember, first 3 words of the Constitution, we the people. For Marxism, the government is the party. And even in like a place like China or Russia, where the Communist Party has been around, for many decades, it's a tiny percentage of the people. Usually less than 5% of the people belong to the Communist Party. I don't know if you knew that. Right, the vast majority of people, like in China, do not belong to the Communist Party. They just do whatever the party tells them to.
In order to stay alive.
In order to, right, exist. Right. That's exactly right. That's government. And progress, according to Americanism, progress is maximized when we allow individual freedom. You're deciding how you want to conduct your life, and Mike's doing the same thing, Katie's doing the same thing, and all these 330 million people all making their own decisions is the best way to optimize prosperity. For Marxism, it's, believe it or not, it's conflict and revolution. You have to, you're looking for, they're expecting an oppressor and an oppressed people, and they're clashing. And somehow out of that will come something new, and then there'll be another oppressor there. And this conflict, constant conflict, is how they view progress. Okay, we'll get into the roots of it in a minute, but then debate, for Americanism, it's free exchange, it's what we want, we promote it, different points of view. In Marxism, it's the party line, period, everybody has crushed and eliminated. Laws. In Americanism, laws are limited in number. For Marxism, laws should be profuse, so that everybody is always in danger of violating them. And then finally, arms. In Americanism, it's the right of citizens to bear arms. For Marxism, it's limited to the government. They should have all the firepower so that they can control you. All right, so this is the end of part 1. Unless you have questions or something you want to mention yet.